This is Dr. John Bennett from Miami. We're introducing the Watch Conference, the pre-conference period of the Watch Conference, which takes place on July 25th and 26th. We're here tonight with Paul Sotek. Sotek, how's that how I pronounce Paul?
Yeah, it says Zotek.
We're just going to have a real informal chat here and discuss the conference that Paul is arranging up in Indianapolis. And we'll just make it informal and just discuss what's going on in the digital health world and what is going to be covered in the conference and the general news. So good evening, Paul.
Great, thanks, John. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, and thanks for helping support the conference that we're working on. It's wearable technology in healthcare. Sort of my story was I began in wearable tech essentially. I guess it was about November, and then after that, I did the first case in Indianapolis or in Indiana with the Google Glass, looking at a CT scan, and so that's kind of how I got started in it. We've kind of done some things since then with the Indianapolis 500 and a few other apps that we've been working on with our company. But in general, I was speaking with Marley's one evening, and we kind of came up with this concept of really just getting all healthcare providers, whether whatever you do, whether you're a physician, whether you're a wound care nurse, whether you're somebody who just does or just is a physical therapist, or any kind of sort of person who is involved in healthcare, and getting them together and really kind of decide is this something that's going to be the future of medicine? Is this something that's going to be the future of surgery? Are the applications real? I think one of the sort of early experiences I had was, we had an application that sounded great on paper or on computer screen in this particular instance, but as soon as we put it in the back of a functioning ambulance, the EMTs said this is useless because I'm bouncing all over the place and it can't really do what we had intended it to do. So it's that learning experience, getting the EMTs there and everybody together to kind of, along with the developers, to really give each other insight into what's going on. And so we kind of brought this conference into being by just kind of deciding we were going to do it. And we've been working for a couple of months now to develop it. And initially we invited a group of folks who were really some of the first users of Google Glass and other wearable technology in the operating room to be part of the board, just to sort of organize it. And that board consists of myself, Marley Shivjan, Heather Evans, Homero Rivas, Teodora Grancharov, Raphael Grossman, David Martineau, Christian Assad, and our medical student and student representative is Rishi Mega, who's a wonderful medical student who works with me here in Indianapolis, who spent a lot of time and effort working on the website to get things going. And we really just started there, and we had some hangouts similar to what we're doing tonight, and kind of came up with the plan for the conference. The plan was to have a didactic portion as well as a workshop portion where developers could work with physicians to get ideas. We've had some companies who are working in this arena, Stryker Endo recently, who contacted me, and they're not quite ready for showtime, but they really want to come and just speak with the physicians and the healthcare providers and see what they really want and what they need. And so we're also working with several other companies to kind of bring them into the conference, and really Medtronic recently contacted us, and they'll be coming to the conference to present what they're working on. So these are companies that we really haven't heard of in Google Glass or in wearable tech so far, but they're aware it's out there and they have some things they're working on, and we're excited to hear what they're going to say at the conference. That's really about it. Was there any specific questions, John? One of the things we are working on is the workshops, and we have a variety of options. One of the things I do is I do abdominal wall reconstruction and hernia repair, and use a lot of products by a company called LifeCell, and I teach a course for them. And so we've been lucky enough to have them sponsor a laboratory that I'm going to be giving on Saturday of the Watch Conference, which the dates are the July 25th and 26th. And so on the 26th in the morning, I'm going to be doing live dissections with cadavers, and we're going to stream those with Google Glass. So we're going to really give everybody an opportunity to see that, as well as to see different options. I talked to Kyle Samani from Pristine today, and we're going to use his eyesight for one of the streaming lines. We have another program or application that we're dealing with right now where you can have remote activation. We're going to be using that so that folks can log in and basically pick what dissection they want to see. So depending on the surgeon, there'll be several surgeons there, and you'll be able to pick what dissection you'd like to see as a live stream educational opportunity. Those are kind of some of the things. We have a full sim center where it has an OR, ER, patient beds, sim man, which you see me sending out all kinds of stuff about that. And so really those are kind of the basics of the conference. We've got a pretty strong, I've noticed we've got a pretty strong lineup there of speakers. We're really excited to hear all those folks speak. The hard work that you've done to also arrange the pre-conference, Bill has been amazing. And so whatever folks want to do, we're trying to get everybody to get in and get involved. We're in the process of working on adding in for the morning session on Friday. We really didn't have anything set up. I'm in the process of working on adding in a hackathon where we start out early in the morning, and we're going to go ahead and get ideas from the audience and charge some folks, not like money, but put them in charge of developing at least one of those apps and or some version of that in a hackathon type thing. We're going to have potentially somebody who will show how to build a basic Google Glass app. That's something that I've never been able to do, and so hopefully, even if it's something simple, I think that would be interesting to kind of learn if you've never built one, and it'd be really kind of interesting. We may do some stuff that morning, like just open forum. For these companies that are interested, that are working in this arena, that's, to kind of be able to say, hey, what do you guys want to hear, get up there and say, this is what we have. We're Stryker Endo, or we're this company, and we're working on laparoscopic stuff. What do you need? What do you want? So that these folks can work on it for us and partner with us and really kind of advance that.
Well, we'll talk about that. I mean, that is a definite Hangouts are great for that. Those companies, we could set up some Hangouts with those individual companies so they can even talk to people before they get to the conference. But
sure.
Just to give us some structure, Paul, so just to let any viewers know exactly what's going on, can we briefly go over the schedule? Now, Raphael, we'll just go over it one by one, and you can just maybe remark a little bit about what they're talking about. Raphael Grossman, he was one of the first to use it, correct, in Google Glass and surgery?
Right. So, Raphael has been a champion of telemedicine and for a long time, and he did the first case with Google Glass, and it sounds like he's going to be on tomorrow night in the same position as I am, and he'll probably be able to give some great details. He's got some great videos out there of his evolution, but he started, from what I understand, with essentially cell phones and just different telemedicine, and evolved it into, and he's got a nice evolution video on YouTube, but he evolved it into Google Glass. And his first case that he did was essentially, the way I understand it, I think he did a PEG tube, which is a percutaneous endoscopic gastrostomy tube. He wanted to keep it simple because it was a new technology, and that's what he did. But that was really the first step into the operating room, and a lot of folks have gone from his lead and kind of taken it on, and we've adopted it pretty well.
Okay, Nicholas Terry is next. He's an attorney.
Sure. So Nick is actually here in Indianapolis. He's a professor of law. Him and I have been working together on a paper, which we just got back from JAMA Surgery today, and we're resubmitting it. But it's essentially the white paper on Google Glass or wearable tech in the operating room in healthcare. The reason we decided to write it was because I think that one of the scariest things that folks have, or their biggest fear is HIPAA and all these different compliance issues. And so myself and him and one other attorney got together, and we are working on this paper essentially to make a white paper that folks can refer to when they try to employ wearable tech in their institution. And that way, when the folks come at and talk to them, they have something to refer to. So we'll see. I think they're going to present that, and he's going to present basically the law and wearable tech.
And Homero is next. Homero Rivas from Stanford.
Yeah, Homero obviously did some of the early work also, and I'm not 100% sure but he's going to look at where he thinks there are the needs of stuff in healthcare. So where do we need this? Where are the spots? I think clearly primary care, surgery. So what specialties? What are the needs? Where can we use this at? And he's going to look at all the different things.
And John Scott is next. He's actually a programmer, correct, from California?
Yeah, no, we're really excited about having John. He's actually developed this software called context-aware software, which I don't have a lot of insight into. He's keeping that one pretty tight to him. I've heard it's pretty amazing though, and that some large companies are interested in it from him. And so David Martineau will be able to, one of our board members, is going to be able to kind of detail that along with John a little bit better. I think they already have it posted on your website that they're for their hangout, but they're going to be able to go through that, and then they're going to be displaying that here at the conference also.
Yeah, I was surprised when I had a hangout with him. He has a server in his house, a huge wall of servers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that kind of surprised me. And you're next, and then Theodore Grancharoff.
Right, so we actually changed the schedule a little bit. Noor Siddiqui is going to be speaking at Marley's did this, so she's in Netherlands time. She put 1500, so I got to do the math. I guess it's about 3 p.m. And a company that she had founded, and she's the CEO of it. It's called Remedy, and really they are going to talk about how they're saving lives with Google Glass. Once again, this is another thing that I don't know necessarily the details of, but it sounds really interesting, and I think that we're all going to be really excited to get an idea of what they're doing to save lives, and they feel it's instrumental to doing so. And then actually Celine Parikh, who's an orthopedic surgeon, is going to be talking about Google Glass and orthopedic surgery to follow her. And then Theodore will come up after that. And he's going to address some of these things like almost like what Nick Terry's going to talk about, as far as I understand. He calls it the black box, but what are the things that we can use it for? What are the sort of I guess the barriers to using it? Is it going to be something like one of these things that nobody really quite accepts, and then next thing you know it's gone? I think that's what a lot of people are worried about. And then I think to follow that, right now, Christopher Vukin is going to be talking from Team Evermed, applications of glass in healthcare, and using EMR workflows. But to be honest with you, I think Chris may move down a little bit, and we're working with the Medtronic folks, and they're going to be speaking, I believe, in that spot about what their sort of thing. So Medtronic does a lot of the stealth stuff for the neurosurgeons, and I suspect that they're going to be introducing what they're doing with glass for that.
And Marley's is next. Is she going to speak?
Yeah. So Marley's is really going to just try and address the overall future of basically like of medicine, and how wearable technology is going to integrate in that, and what it's going to mean for that. And so that's, as far as I understand it, she's kind of kept that one a little bit quiet on me, and I haven't heard her give that talk, so that'll be very interesting.
And Vladimir Ratushny?
Yeah, so Vlad is he's a great medical student, I believe, or resident. I'm not really sure out at Mass General, one of my former stomping grounds, and so he's coming all the way out here to really talk about what they're using glass and wearable technology in for, and I think in his case they're actually using cell phone at this point. They're trying to get it adapted to glass, but essentially for diagnosing different skin lesions and being able to assess for cancer in different skin lesions. As far as I understand it, he's kind of hasn't really totally let that one go yet.
I think Brown University did some of that too. They're going to speak about that in one of the hangouts. They were doing some things with dermatology in an emergency room.
Yeah, I think that what they're doing is, they're doing consults essentially and things like that. So, I think that's pretty inherent. It doesn't take anything to stream a picture or take a picture with your cell phone and send it to a dermatologist or something, you know what I mean, to look at, and then you can kind of get a quick answer. I think that's one of the nice things about glass and telemedicine in general is that you can do these things without actually having to come in.
With HIPAA. Now, Dave Martineau is going to speak at on Saturday about hand surgery and Google Glass.
Yeah, so he's talking about basically a little bit of the context aware stuff and his hand surgery and what he uses it for. He's a hand surgeon out of Cincinnati, and so he's going to kind of really kind of give us a nice overview of that. We may move some of the schedule around so some of the ortho guys are together and things like that.
Okay.
And then on the list, AJ Cola is he's actually a great friend of mine who's a medical student out at in San Francisco. I believe he's in San Francisco, but he's going to actually be talking on the list. He talks about gynecology, and I don't know that he's presenting on that, but he has a really cool app that he's been working on is actually for hearing impaired because the glass transmits through the mastoid bone. He's going to be presenting, essentially for them using glass for hearing impaired to be able to transmit the signal through the mastoid bone and help them hear.
Oh, that's cool. I haven't heard of that one.
He's got that one really quiet.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
John Springer, is John going to speak?
Yeah, so John is well known to the G Plus community, and I think if anybody's been involved in glass, they know John at least through the Hangouts and all the different things on Google Glass. He's really on the cutting edge of all of this. It's amazing how much inside information like to think it is he has. He really is one of the first to sort of pump up a lot of breaking news, and he really has his finger on the pulse of where Google Glass is in the sort of where this technology is going. And he's a certified surgical tech, so he's using it for helping surgeons in the operating room, and he's going to talk about how he is using that to help sort of the surgical techs and then the perioperative personnel in doing a better job at anticipating and figuring out what the surgeon needs and sort of really viewing the case and understanding it. He hasn't, once again, all of these guys kind of keeping it on the down low so far, so I'm trying to do my best of what I know of the knowledge, so we'll kind of go from there and just see and Divya is next, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not exactly sure what, her title is Streamlining Communication from the Operating Room to the Bedside, but I haven't ever seen her application or, I did talk to her a bit on the phone, but, we didn't really get into details about what it is, but I suspect that it's going to be pretty cool to hear what she has to say.
Tom Giannulli?
I don't...
Is Tom coming or no?
I don't think so. I don't have Tom on my list.
Maybe I have an old list here. Stephen Horn.
Yeah, so those two are old ones. They're not coming on the new, or at least they haven't confirmed yet. We'd love to have them, obviously, but sort of the new list is on the newest update is on the
website.
On the website, and Johan van de Heideken is going to be coming all the way from overseas to give a talk on Google Glass and medical education and how they're using it. I believe he's from Switzerland, maybe, or Sweden, and he's going to be coming over, really, which is awesome to have this international sort of audience as well as speaker panel to talk on how they're using it overseas in medical education.
Yeah, and of course, Kyle, you mentioned him. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's got his footprints everywhere. I talked to Leslie Garson, who's an anesthesiologist at UC of Irvine. He's met Kyle, and Kyle was running around the hospital there, and also with Warren Weichman. He's the one that gave him, I think, sets of Google Glass to use for his 5 students, and he was over at Brown University on the other coast, giving the residents Google Glass over there and starting with their applications there in the emergency room. Kyle goes
that's great. I mean, he's got he's got the first platform really that was HIPAA compliant for streaming essentially, and what they did is they wiped the glass so that it was HIPAA compliant, and did some other things that obviously he can. I think he's going to be speaking here too in a couple of days, right? Maybe even tomorrow. And so he can give the details of his a little bit better and explain it. But essentially the way I understand it is they wiped the glass and then they had a streaming application called EyeSight, which is pretty cool.
One thing I had to hang out with him, Paul. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I had to hang out with him, Kyle, and I asked him. I said, "How did you get your EyeSight approved so quickly? It only took like 6 months, I think." And he said he has a background in EHR, and he has a background of working with administrative agencies with HIPAA and stuff. So he has that experience, which helps to get things through. So,
yeah, I mean, HIPAA is one of those interesting things. I think you're going to see, Nick Terry kind of talk about that. I mean, like, it's really more of a claim than an actual anything. I mean, to be honest with you, what you need for HIPAA is you need dual logins on either end. You need a secured network, and you need to have documented essentially that somebody tried to hack into that network. And so, most things can fall under outside of HIPAA, really, in the grand scheme of things. I think you have to be careful with it, and it's very important. And I'm very concerned with all of my patients, and they've all been consented, and we make sure we follow all the steps. But I don't think it's as arduous as one would like you to think, to be honest with you, as far as streaming applications. I mean, we've been streaming surgeries for how many millions of years? You go to websurge.com, and there's 10,000 videos of surgeries. I mean, as long as it's done right, and you make sure that there's no identification of the patient and different things like that. At least in my impression, and as well as somebody very versed in it from a legal standpoint, it's not as arduous as one might think. And so I think 6 months is actually a great job that they did to get that through. I mean, and get it approved. I think that's why we're working on this paper. It's one of those things where somebody who's trying to get into this, I think the first thing they do is get scared of, like I said, their institution and the HIPAA and all that stuff. And we're trying to make it so that you got a white paper that you can hand your tech guys and say, here's the law in Google Glass, or the law in wearables. This is how it goes. Everybody always asks me, well, how did you do this? How did you do that? Really, I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, most things fall outside of, needing to be HIPAA compliant, unless you're really starting to talk about streaming health information. Because it goes back to that, like I said, I mean, we've been streaming videos of cases forever. I mean, that's not something new. I mean, so most of that stuff will fall under a hospital's photography and video policy, to be quite honest with you. So it's interesting, and I think it'll be great to hear. I've seen the talk that Nick gives, and it's pretty cool. And I think everybody's like, well, you got a lawyer on the thing, and I'm like, I think you're going to find out that's going to be one of your favorite talks. I mean, it's just it's one of those things where we all want to know about it, but we all aren't sure about it, and I think he's going to clarify a lot of that for us.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Now, Sugar Patel, new applications in ENT, is he coming?
Yeah, Sagar, as far as we know, unless he changes his mind, he's planning on being there. One of the things that is really arduous on any kind of Service, who does flaps, which are flaps or free flaps where they take a piece of muscle and move it to another place, is watching those flaps to make sure that the veins and the arteries that they've sewn together with microsurgery don't clot off. And so they have to do these checks every hour or 2 hours, depending on the different things of these flaps. And so he's developing some software with Evermed and Chris Vukin that to help do that monitoring, and essentially so that they can do that from home, because they, as residents, they were coming in, from what I understand, or at least the attendings were having to come in and check on those flaps every 3 to 4 hours. And so now they can do a lot of that monitoring at home, the details of which like I'll leave up to him, but you know what I mean, as far as going through. But I think it's an ingenious way to use the streaming and the video of the Google Glass, and that way they can kind of manipulate it hands-free while they're there, and they can just put it on the nurse. They don't have to come in.
Well, we do have, I mentioned to you before, that Davin Lundquist from Dignity Health in San Francisco, that's using the Augmetics, which is an application that takes dictation and takes video of patients. He may be streaming in live, and Julian Beltran may be either coming to the conference or streaming in live too. So it looks like a pretty full schedule, and hopefully we'll cover people that can't come before the conference, and maybe I'll talk to you after this presentation to see if we can get the Medtronics and some of the other guys to do hangouts to meet, so people can meet them before they even get there.
Sure, and we actually just added onto the schedule that you don't have Guy Mascaro. He's actually a interventional neuroradiologist, and he just returned from Europe, where they've been doing a lot of cool stuff with glass and interventional neuroradiology. He's actually local here. He contacted me the other day. I haven't had a chance to, we spoke on the phone a bit, but really get into the details of what he's doing. But they're actually using it for neuroradiology, which is going to be a really phenomenal addition to the talking panel. In addition, we also have Cecilia Body's going to probably try and, as far as last time I talked to her, is going to try and remotely speak at the conference, as well as Heather Evans on her experience. She's on the board. It sounds like she's going to be on trauma call that weekend. I kind of got lucky. I'm on that weekend also, sort of, but I'm one of the trauma surgeons that works with the Motor Speedway, and so we've got the Brickyard 400, which is one of the reasons we had the conference that weekend, because it kind of gives some entertainment for folks who want to come to Indianapolis. There's racing all weekend if you're interested in it, and so I'm going to be there, and then Christian Assad is starting a fellowship, so I don't know that he's not 100% sure, but he's not sure he's going to be able to make it out, and so if he can't make it out, then he's going to give a remote talk, and it sounds like we may get a few others. So as we pepper in the remote talks, I think we're going to really add to the list. Warren, who you're going to talk to now, he got called off to the ER. Warren Weichman, he's going to potentially try and do one of the remote talks also, both pre-conference and the conference. So that's going to be really cool. We will love to have him. So I think that it's one of those things where it's starting to take off a little bit. The schedule is really starting to take off. Folks are asking to be a part of it, and we're happy to have them. And the more the merrier. We really want to just get us all together and really make some advances and push this through, because I really think that this technology is going to lead us into the future with medicine.
Yeah, I think especially if you form a good tight network where you can learn from each other and learn what everyone else is doing out there, it'll be a great opportunity for everybody. So I'm going to shut it off the broadcast, Paul, but I'll talk to you after. So thank you very much, everybody.
All right, thank you.
Good night.